Hey everybody, I am using a new to me microphone here, the Shure MV7. It's one that I've been recommending, and if you're gonna get like the Shure SM7B, I've been recommending the MV7 instead. But I have never used it, so I picked up the Shure MV7 Plus, which is the latest version of this microphone. USB C was the differentiating factor I can remember. So I'm testing this out. Right now, it is plugged in via USB, and I am monitoring through the headphones here. So I can only hear my microphone. I can't hear any of my computer audio. But as you can see, there's also an XLR uh, input on it. So I am going to mess around with this a little bit. You can see when the USB is plugged in, there is a light, and I think this is also a mute switch. So it's a yeah. So you tap the bar, and it becomes a mute switch. From what I understand, I haven't tested this yet, but from what I understand, when you plug in via XLR, you lose all of that stuff, which makes sense because XLR doesn't push power, only USB does. So this is a microphone that I've recommended because it is a bit cheaper than the SM7B. It does have a USB C input, so you don't need to buy like a cloud lifter, or you don't have to buy an interface to plug this into your computer. And so this is really more of a plug and play microphone that I was always under the impression is comparable to the SM7B, but I've never actually done the comparison, so I'd like to do it. So this is the Shure MV7, again, plugged in via USB C. One of the things that someone told me, the impetus for me wanting to review this is they said that it's very sensitive to tapping. So I'm tapping, and maybe you can hear it. So if you like touch, and I grab my microphone all the time when I'm making a point, and I don't think I can do that with this. So this is on a different stand, so it's not on my arm. So this is just kind of an initial test that I'm recording with this microphone. Now I'm going to try it out with uh, plugged in via XLR. Okay, so as you can see now, this is plugged in to uh, XLR to my Rodecaster Pro. It is a different input. I actually tried using. I'm already like hearing a ton of plosives here. Plosive. This is terrible. Uh, I'm probably too close. Or like I'm not getting any clipping in Ecamm Live or on the Rodecaster Pro, so it's probably just mic technique, which is another reason I love the SM7B is it's very forgiving of mic technique. So anyway, sitting like this, it sounds fine in my monitors. I'm not going to be able to really tell a difference, I don't think, between USB and XLR until I listen to them side by side. But I will say I did watch the USB C video, and it sounds like a little. I don't know if I don't think muddy is right. Let's see. Yeah, like a little bit muddy. Sounds a little bit muddy. Where I think with the SM7B via XLR, it sounds a little bit brighter. That could just be USB C, right? That it could be opinionated stuff. So I'll say for transparency's sake, but each mic is different, so I'm not going to be able to do the same exact stuff. I did try. I mean, I'll let you listen for yourself. Hold on. Okay, so this is what it sounds like with the same exact settings as the Shure SM7B. The Rodecaster Pro II has a SM7B setting where the level is 55 dB. I dropped it down to 50 dB because I felt it was too loud or it was picking up too much stuff. I also have phantom power on for this because we want it to be an exact, and they're at the same level volume wise. You don't need phantom power. So let me turn off phantom power so that you can hear it right? Phantom power is just for like overpowered microphones. This one is not that. So I'll turn off phantom power and we can compare that as well. Okay, and this is what it sounds like without phantom power. So I can't really tell the difference in my headphones, but I feel like this is probably too loud. Um, it's a little bit overpowered for this microphone. The SM7B requires a lot of power. That's why if you don't have the right interface, you do need to get something like a cloud lifter to bring it to volume. But this is the test here. So now what I'll do is I will bring in the SM7B and then I'll read the same exact script on both. So what I'll do to give this microphone a fair shot is I will turn I'll put the settings to the Rodecaster Pro to something more favorable for this. I'll do like a dynamic microphone. The level won't be as high. They'll still be the same volume, and then I will read the same script with the Shure SM7B, the MV7 Plus XLR, and the MV7 Plus USB, and then we can see where we're at, and I'll give you some final thoughts. Okay, so the first test is going to be with the Shure SM7B. I have found 3 phonetic panagrams, which is a sentence or phrase that contains all the letters of the alphabet at least once. So this should cover a wide range of sounds, hopefully covering plosives and sibilance as well. So, okay. The quick beige fox jumped in the air over each thin dog. Look out, I shout, for he's foiled you again, creating chaos. Are those shy Eurasian footwear, cowboy chaps, or jolly earth-moving headgear? The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started vending and quacking. That quick beige fox jumped in the air over each thin dog. Look out, I shout, for he's foiled you again, creating chaos. Are those shy Eurasian footwear, cowboy chaps, or jolly earth-moving headgear? The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started vending and quacking. That quick beige fox jumped in the air over each thin dog. Look out, I shout, for he's foiled you again, creating chaos. Are those shy Eurasian footwear, cowboy chaps, or jolly earth-moving headgear? The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started vending and quacking. Okay, so I've completed all the tests. I listened back to them, and honestly, I don't feel there was an appreciable difference. So, for comparison's sake, or for trying to keep things as even as possible, I'll tell you that the SM7B is plugged into my Rodecaster Pro. It has the SM7B setting on the Rodecaster Pro. It's the Rodecaster Pro II. The level is 50 decibels. The volume rocker is about 75% of the way up. And the kind of sound effects, the thing affecting the sound, is Podcast Studio. When this was plugged in to the Rodecaster Pro II, it was plugged into the second input, so I didn't swap them out. But this used the general dynamic microphone setting. The level was 45 decibels. The volume rocker, same exact spot, 75%. And it was also set to Podcast Studio. With USB, I made 0 changes. So the only real appreciable difference, trying to set this microphone, understanding that this microphone is my everyday microphone and it's dialed in. And I was trying to get this dialed in as easily or as quickly as possible, as close as possible without me using it over the long term. The main difference is that this is on a boom arm and this is not. This is on a stand. And then again, for USB, I just plugged it in and started talking into it. So all things being equal, I didn't notice an appreciable difference in the two microphones on any setting. You know, there's a certain level of breathing and mouth clicking, and that's always the case. At least for me, it's always the case. When I do use this and edit properly, there are a few filters in Logic Pro that I'll throw my audio through that I didn't for this video because I wanted. So I'm sorry if you just like hate mouth clicking and there's a bunch of it, but or maybe I'm just pointing it out here at the end. But I wanted this to be as clean a comparison as possible, and editing the sound. You know, I'm not an audio engineer, and so I'm not sure what kind of effects the same editing would have on these. I just wanted to get as clean a sound as possible. So that was my test. I didn't notice. I mean, maybe I'll like tap the back of this, but again, I'm not like tapping this during recording, right? I'm like grabbing. I'm like grabbing here when I make a point, and that either doesn't come through or edits out really easily. Hey, Editor Joe here, popping in really quick to give you my final thoughts now that I've edited the video and I've gone through um, with my studio monitors. Is the SM7B does sound cleaner. The USB version of MV7 does capture more of the sibilance and more of the plosives, and it just generally sounds muddy. Now, I will get into my final thoughts and I'll cover a lot of that here, but I did want to point that out. In edit, I did notice putting these things side by side that when I tap the microphone, right, if I tap or grab the microphone, that sound did not come through. I didn't edit the audio for this video at all. And so the MV7 is a lot more forgiving. The sibilance and the plosives don't come through as clearly on the SM7B as they do on the MV7 in either XLR or USB. So if that's something that you're concerned about, if you want the best audio quality that you can get, you're going to want to get the SM7B, but I'll let you get back to my final thoughts cuz I don't think they're so different that you should definitely not get one over the other. I think the main thing to consider here is cost and how much gear do you want to buy? How dialed in do you want your sound to be? Yeah, I guess if you're like grabbing your mic a ton and you're like doing this and talking all into it, like yeah, maybe the MV7 is not for you, but also that's not like how podcast mics work, right? Um Maybe the SM7B is a little bit more forgiving of mic technique, right? Cuz I don't often get a lot of plosives when I use the SM7B. Usually it's down here. So I'm also not blowing directly into the microphone, right? But I think it is a little bit more forgiving. If you want to upgrade from your Blue Yeti, or you want to upgrade from the Samsung Q2U or the AT2100, like some $100 microphone that you bought and you're ready for the next level and you're ready to sound better, I think the MV7 is good. I really do. And then the thing I like is it is XLR and USB. So if you really want to, I think this is not something I've ever confirmed, or that I'm not 100% sure on it, but my opinion is that when you have a clean analog signal, that is an XLR signal, right? You're getting the least opinionated audio possible. So even with USB, there's some programming that needs to happen. I think for like the sniff test, they're all fine. Like either any of these options is fine. And if you're thinking, well, I want to upgrade my mic, but I don't want to spend $400, then the MV7 is great. If you're like, hey, I have a little wiggle room in the budget and I can spend the extra $100, just keep in mind you'd also have to spend like probably another $200 if you get like the Focusrite Scarlett Solo for an interface and the cloud lifter. So if you have like $400 extra wiggle room and you want that super clean input, I think the SM7B is probably where you want to go. But I'm going to say for podcasters, especially for most people, for most podcasters, the MV7 will get the job done. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. And let me know if you have any question about either microphone. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you out there.